Hi again, everyone. Today we're going to be looking at circles. Specifically, we're going to be looking at the circumference and the area of circles. Now, area is still the same for circles as it is for every other shape. It's measuring the inside space of the circle, but the circumference is what we call the perimeter of the circle. So just keep that in mind, that the circumference is the outside of the circle. Now, for a circle, there are a couple of really important measurements to keep in mind. Okay, like I said, the circumference is just around the outside of the circle, area is on the inside. Now, to find those, we need a very special measurement, and this measurement is called the radius. Now, the radius of your circle is from the exact middle of your circle to the outside. Okay, so this is your radius. There is another important measurement in circles, which we call the diameter, okay? Now, sometimes you'll be given the diameter instead of the radius, and you just need to halve it to get the radius, okay? So if you have a diameter of 4 the whole way across the circle, like this, then that means that your radius would be 2, okay? So whenever you get a diameter, if you just halve that, you're going to get your radius. Now, there is one other very special thing that we have to use for circles, and this is a very special number, which you're going to have to use on your calculators. Now, this number is called pi, and it's about 3.14. But what's so special about this number is it does in fact go on forever. It never actually ends, and it doesn't have a pattern to it. So it doesn't just go 3, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4. It actually doesn't have a recurring pattern, which is a bit crazy for some numbers, okay? So pi is our very special number we're going to use today. Now, with a circle, you need to be able to do two things. You need to be able to find the circumference, which we usually just call C, and you need to be able to find the area, which is still just A, okay? Now, the circumference of a circle is 2 times pi times the radius, okay? But in maths, we don't like to write that time symbol if we don't have to, okay? So it's double your radius times pi. This does mean, however, that you can also just do pi times your diameter, or pi d, okay? So for circumference, you can use radius or diameter, but if you have your radius, you do just have to remember to double it, okay? For your area, however, you cannot use the diameter. The only formula for finding the area of a circle is pi times radius squared, which is more commonly written as pi r squared. Now, if you're doing a measurement unit and you're not using exact values, you're not going to be using pi, then you have to just use a calculator. So you're going to need a calculator with you for this. So on the next slide, let's find the perimeter and area of those circles. And then the slide after, pause the video and have a go yourself. Okay. So looking at these two circles here, being given the radius, not the diameter. Okay. So I know I've got a radius of 2. So to find my circumference, I'm going to be writing out C equals, and I'm going to do 2 times pi times 2. If I put that into my calculator, it is the same as saying just 4 times pi, okay? And if I put that into my calculator, I'm going to get 12.5667, and this number is just going to go on forever. Now, in measurement, we like to simplify things down and round it to 2 decimal places, okay? So I'm going to round this up, and that's going to give me 12.57 meters, okay, because we're looking at the circumference. So to get around this circle, you'd have to walk 12.57 meters. All right, now let's move on to our area. Remember, with area, we have to use the radius. So my area is going to be pi times radius squared, which is pi times 2 squared. And funnily enough, That's pi times 4. So we're going to end up with the same number. However, it's going to be meters squared instead of meters. Okay? Now, if you want to have a go at the next one, feel free to pause the video here. For this one here, we've got a radius of 4 centimeters. So my circumference is going to be 2 times pi times 4. This is the same as 8 times pi. And if I do 8 times pi, I'm going to get 25.13274, so on and so on. So I'm just going to leave it at 25.13. Doing the area for this one, I'm going to have pi times 4 squared, which is the same as pi times 16. And if I put that into my calculator, I'm going to get 50 and it's 265, so on. So that would be 27 centimeters squared. Now, on this next one here, just be careful because you've been given the diameter and not the radius. So feel free to pause the video here if you'd like to do this on your own or keep watching. Because I've got a diameter of 6 meters, my radius is going to be 6 divided by 2. It's going to be halved, which is 3 meters. So we're going to be working with the number 3 for this one. I'm going to start by finding my circumference, which is 2 times pi times 3, which is the same as saying 6 times pi. I'm going to pop 6 times pi into my calculator, and that gives me 18.849, which is 18.85 rounded up. Our area for this one is going to be pi times 3 squared, which is the same as pi times 9. And if I now pop that into my calculator, I get 28.27 meters squared. Okay. Same thing for this one here. I've got a diameter of 12 meters, which means that my radius has to equal 6 centimeters. Okay. So my circumference is 2 times pi times 6. That's going to be 12 times pi. If I pop that into my calculator, I get 37.699, so on, so on. And that's actually going to give me 38. Oh, I apologize. No, that will give me 38 centimeters squared. Centimeters, sorry. Last but not least, I'm going to do my area. That's going to be pi times 6 squared. That will be pi times 36. And if I pop that into my calculator, I'm going to get 113.097, which will give me 113.10 centimeters squared.